Okay. So it's Friday evening and sat around thinking about trying to make new connections. So, like a lot of people, you know how you make New Year's resolutions and things like that. And I don't really do resolutions anymore. I'm more of I'm going to make some life choices and stick with it. So, um, I'm like, I don't want to be that person that, you start in the gym and you're good for like 10 days and then, whatever. So I didn't make a list. I didn't make a vision board this year. Last year I did a prayer board and it was really pretty. I brought it to work. And it wasn't for me specifically. It was because I needed to exercise. That place was wild. But uh, it was more for the group. We were going through some things as a department. I work at a faith-based hospital, and I wanted to give the group an opportunity to work through some of the things that we were going through. So I made a prayer board, and I did it with like the little envelopes that had a different theme for each one. And some people were really into it, and some people were really not into it. And of course, you don't force it on anybody. It's just if you want to participate, you can, and if you don't, you don't have to. And so, people kind of fell off with it, and it was okay. I tried it. For me, I still prayed whether I used a prayer board or not, and so it didn't really matter that way. But it was, I guess you could say, it was an interesting experiment. But it was kind of also a symptom, or I guess an illustration of like how sometimes people can start some sort of a resolution and then they kind of fall off. And so this year for me, I wanted to do something that started off my year with working on my heart and my spirit. I realized that, and I still realize, I'm still working through it, that I have been living with an exceptional amount of stress for a number of years. And I think, you have a cumulative effect, and then you can hit a wall if you don't do something to kind of decompress that, right? So I have been working on the things that led me to doing this channel, which was, sorry, my little foot was itching. Actually, it's actually a big foot, but whatever. My ankle was itching. Radical relaxation is what I decided that I needed. And I decided that that's what I was going to work on with the channel too, to help other people if they needed that as well. So that I needed to figure out how to regulate my stress better, regulate, like I don't have panic attacks or anything like that, but like, how you can feel sometimes whatever it is welling up inside when something happens, or if you're waiting for like the other shoe to drop, if like you get the phone call and you're like, oh Lord, what is it now? And that fight or flight response. I don't want to live like that, and that's not what God has for me. So I was trying to figure out, how can I start off my year doing something different to get a different result, and not call it, some kind of cliche, oh, I'm gonna lose this many pounds, or I'm gonna, go to the gym every day for, doing all that. So what I did commit to was a challenge that's on another YouTube channel. It's 31-day Proverbs Wisdom Challenge. And today's the 30th day of the month, so it's the 30th day of the challenge. And so I will make it through my 31 days tomorrow. And it was a couple of things. It was to build that muscle of discipline, finishing things. I like to finish the things that I start. And kind of like a sprint to just get my mind right in that way, that I'm going to do, a few sprints this year um, to move me forward. And also, if I can gain some wisdom, if I can gain some discernment, um, that will benefit me in all of my choices, and help me put some things in perspective, then so much the better, right? So as a result of that, I did do there's offers, right? So I did the offer for um, 31 days of the extra package that they have, and a journal and all of those things. And it's funny because I haven't used that journal yet, but I do have a notebook with lots of writing and things. But it started before that challenge. It started late last year. So I went to Afrotech for my fintech, my business of Jama Financial. So first I went to Money 2020, which I've done for the last 4 years. And I've been a speaker, I've been a mentor for other women-owned or Black-owned or brown-owned or women in fintech type of people that attend this cohort that's meant to help amplify the businesses and or amplify the people that work in finance. And so first I was part of the cohort, then I was a mentor, then I was a speaker, and then this last year I was a hostess, so what they call an ambassador. So I helped run all of the program alongside a co-host. And I had to run straight from there, get on the plane, and go to Afrotech because I was blessed to be admitted to their founder circle. And you needed to attend, obviously, the conference, but there was a day full of content that was just for the founders that were selected for the founder circle. And while I was there, they gave me a little swag bag. And so this little notebook was from the swag bag. And it actually was, it's just a notebook, nothing super special about it. But it was from Silicon Valley Bank. And I think they were one of the sponsors, right? So started making some notes on the plane on the way back. Mostly, kill time a little bit, but then it's also one of those things where when you get a little peace and a little silence and solitude sometimes, you get some clarity, right? You can finish a thought without an interruption, and you can be creative, let that come out. So start taking some little notes there in earnest, and it's like, okay, good ideas, all right. And then fast forward later in the year, last year, I actually won an award. I was honored to be part of New York Women in Fintech event where I was honored as an innovator in the fintech space, as an innovative woman. And so I flew to New York for that, and it was a cool thing. I got a chance to be on the NASDAQ board alongside all of the other winners, and it was like a little before Christmas. All the Christmas market and things were out. Snow. I hadn't been to New York since right before 9/11, actually. And so that was a nice experience. But anyway, I've been taking this notebook with me just everywhere I go now. I used to do that years ago, and it kind of fell off. Like, I wanted to be able to either have a notebook or like a little recording thing. So like if you have a really good idea and you don't want to lose it, because sometimes, download something real quick and you have to pay attention and remember it, because later on you're like, what was that thing? It was really, really good, and I can't quite, I don't know. And I got sick of doing that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to carry this notebook and a pen with me. And it fits in my purse, so it's fine, whatever. And on that flight back, it was like a red-eye flight, and it was dark even. So I was kind of like writing in the dark. But like all the stuff was just flowing. So I was just writing. And then when I looked at it like the next day or two, I was like, oh, okay, we got something. But some of what I got was the ideas for what I wanted this channel to be, and what I wanted for my life, and what I wanted in the next person that would be my person. And, just goals, everything, where I wanted to travel, things I want to learn still, things I want to do. But it was all like in order. Like, here's the page with all of the stuff the guy needs to be. Here's the page with a lot of the places that I want to go and things I want to learn. And here's the page with it, and it went on, right? And then even for this, I started brainstorming, like, what are the subjects I want to talk about? And it just felt really good to like get all that going. But one of the things that was interesting that I was thinking about is how hard it can be as an adult person who's really busy, you're living your life, to make connections with new people, right? Whether it's somebody who's a romantic interest, or if it's a friend, like making new adult girlfriends can be hard. When back in the day, you remember, like, if you're out and you might be looking particularly cute that day or whatever it was, and some dude wants to come talk to you, they had to step to you, right? They had to come and say something and get you to stand there long enough to talk and decide if you're going to give him your number or not. And if you didn't, you'd never see him again, right? So, but the thing that was good about that is people had to practice talking to each other, and you got a chance to feel the vibe of the person, right? You still didn't know very much about them, but at least you would know if you had that basic beginning attraction, right? I don't know what your criteria is, but when I'm thinking about who I'm attracted to in terms of a romantic interest, right? I don't have a specific type. I've dated people that look like all kinds of things. They always have to be a man. Born a man, still a man. But not necessarily a specific type. Interestingly, I think I attract a specific type, but I like a little bit of everything, but I know it when I see it, right? So you kind of know, like, do I like his eyes? Do I like his smile? For me, I also like to look at a man's hands, and it's not for that reason. It's not like, does he have big hands? It's not that. It's, did he take the time to groom himself? Like, does he have long nails? Can't stand that. Does he have dirty nails? Now, if he just came from work and he does that kind of work that gets dirt under his nails, okay. But also, maybe you should wash your hands before you try to, hit on somebody. Whatever. That's just my thing. And so it's more about the grooming. And I think warm eyes, like warm smile, kind of give you an idea of what the person is like. Doesn't have to be super fine, but like, there has to be something that you're attracted to. That thing that you're like, all right, I'm interested to know more about this person. And it's easier to tell that, I think, in person. And so, now of course everybody does like the internet dating, right? You meet online, you swiped away, up, down, set, left, right, whatever it is. But there's so much hiding, there's so much scamming, there's so much it is a needle in a haystack, right? And so I think we all know at least one person who said, oh, I had a great experience. I met my person. It's wonderful. And I know a few of those actually over the years. But I've tried it a couple times. I've tried a couple sites off and on, mostly off over the last however many years. And it's interesting because I've met some people that I'm still friends with to today, but obviously I've met my person, I'm still single. But I've also weeded through you're 10 years older than you said, you're 100 pounds heavier than you said, you're 3 or 4 inches shorter than you said, or you're just a scammer, right? You go through and they're like, you recognize that they're trying to get your information, or they're trying to love bomb you because they assume you've got some money, and then they're gonna ask you, well, I have this emergency situation and then I can pay you back, and like what do they say, if you give me a hamburger today, I'll pay you back tomorrow. Nah. But they're doing it in several people have told me this, like the guy seemed like he was all of this, and then he asked for $20,000 or something ridiculous, and some people fall for it. And so it's hard out here for a pimp. That's what all I gotta say about that. It's rough. But then you wonder, like, what are the alternatives? Do you go to a matchmaker? Do you try to wait and hope you run into somebody organically, which is harder and harder these days, especially after COVID. People don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to interact with each other. And it was bad before. It's similar, not quite the same, but similar with thinking about making new adult friends, right? Now, I belong to a sorority. You might could guess which one. And so there's a built-in opportunity for me to have female friends that way. But we're also, meant to be working on philanthropy and other activities that benefit the community. And of course, you can do all of those things while, establishing friendships and behaving like sisters, like you should. But if you don't have that, or if you've renounced it, or if you've, whatever the thing is, how do you make new friends outside of maybe your job? Maybe you don't work with people you want to hang out with. For me, I'm a nurse. I work with a lot of women, all walks of life, all ages, and different things like that. It doesn't necessarily still translate to these are people that I want to spend time with outside of work. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And so, like, if you wanted to do social things, and you know how, like, sometimes your friends over time spread out all over the country. You might have gone to elementary school or high school or even college with them, but maybe they've moved to another state. People get busy with their families. And when you check in, it's always all good, right? You still are close, but it's like a catch-up game. Like, oh, tell me the last things you've been doing for the last 6 months, because we haven't seen each other, we haven't talked, whatever it may be. And so I've had a lot of, actually, even some of my girlfriends say, yeah, it's kind of hard to figure it out, like how to establish new, real, sincere connections. And even some of these dating sites, of course, have where you can also get on there to make friends or meet up with people. My app developer always tells me about these different things she does to engage with people. She's doing a book club, and she goes to those dinners where you meet strangers at the dinner, and she's joining a social club that like a membership kind of a club thing, and it's all different kinds of people, and I admire that. I have a new friend that I actually met on a dating site, And he's doing acting classes and Tai Chi, and I love that for him. And Tai Chi is actually something I want to do too more of. I've done like, a demo class as part of my school program, but I'd like to really incorporate the practice. It's really good for a number of things. It's good for your brain. It's good for staying like limber and all of that. And so I'm definitely going to incorporate that too. I have to find a class here near me. And I know there are some, I just haven't done it in the middle of everything else. But yeah, it's been interesting thinking about what are the things that I want to do to like engage more. Like I said, it's Friday evening. I'm at home. Sorry, I'm having a hot flash. You might could tell. And oh, my appointment's on Monday. I can't wait to hear what she's gonna say about that. But anyway, trying to figure out what are the things that I want to engage in that I can sustain. I have enjoyed writing and taking notes of my thoughts. I even wrote a couple of songs, and it feels like some of the old me is coming back around, which I love. The creative part. I think I used to joke about when I retire is when I would turn into like the Black Georgia O'Keeffe and do my art and things like that. I used to do a couple of different mixed media things. I would paint, I would draw, I would write. I actually, when I was at UCLA, my first degree was, I studied Afro-American studies, but also film, and did some screenwriting. And I thought that was kind of, either that was the direction I was going to go. I mean, when you're 18, you don't know exactly all what you're going to do. Either that or fashion design. And I had gotten into fashion school also. And at first I was going to do that, but I didn't get a dorm at FIDM. So through a series of events, I ended up going to UCLA. It was one of the schools I got into, and it was nearby. I was at home. I drove, and I was a commuter student. And I wanted the full college experience, the games, the men, all the things. But I always knew I wanted to do something creative, and then I ended up being a nurse. But I when I finished college, by the time I finished, I was already married. I had 2 small children, and I did do some things related to entertainment for a bit. I did an internship at HBO with a casting director. Her name was Kim Williams. I think she's still doing pretty well, actually. But I was just there for a little bit, and started to see how some of the process worked, and it was really cool. She was really cool. I ended up getting married young, having my kids young, getting divorced young, and I went back to school to be a nurse. I thought I would work 3 12-hour shifts and have 4 days of the week to go do other stuff, including pursuing my creative interests. And fast forward 25 years this year, I'm still a nurse. But it's been good. It's afforded me, opportunity to pay for, homes and for my kids to grow up in, and pay for their activities, and give them all of the experiences and cultural exposure that my family was able to give me, which was very valuable, right? I got to go to plays, go to ballets, take art lessons, take dance classes. Ooh, I took dance classes at this place in Hollywood. What was that? The Al Gilbert Studio, something like that. And I went there with Shannon Doherty and Christina Applegate and a couple of other people that, you know, became famous. There were little dance classes that were all there, and I always used to do these little recitals. You had the little tutus and costumes, and somewhere or another, there's probably a program buried in the bottom of the box that has all of these people. I just always liked to express myself that way. And I thought, now that I'm having my midlife moment of what do you really want to do with your life, and what's going to really make you happy and bring you joy, I still like to dance. And I'm not putting on a tutu, but if you turn on some good music, I'll dance. I still like to do art. For one of the fellowship things I was doing I got into House In Fellowship, which works with founders, and this cohort was all women, and we had a weekend. Where were we? Because the beginning week we were in Washington D.C. The last week of it we were in Atlanta. Oh, so it must have been D.C. It was really cold and everything. And Atlanta was in June, so it wasn't cold. We did a paint and sip, and I really enjoyed painting again. And I was like, yes, I remember this girl. She does these things. And so taking the notes and starting to journal and starting to get clear about what all will really be my focuses going forward to bring me joy, to learn something new, and just try stuff and see what happens, right? I'm so excited about that. And I'm doing it even when I'm tired. Like, I'm taking the time to put on my lipstick and sit here and do this. And I'm proud of myself for finishing, right? I'm just starting this, but finishing my 31-day challenge. I'm gonna do next a 21-day fast. It's like a Daniel fast, and I haven't done it before. I've been saying I'm going to do it. But I knew I couldn't do that alongside the 31-day thing at the same time. It'd be too much for me. So when I finish this, I'll challenge myself to that. And at the same time, I will still be working on doing these videos, getting better at that, bringing you some content that hopefully will add some joy, will add some beauty to your life while I work on adding some to mine, and some creativity, and then also working on my peace, right? And I want you to work on yours. It's really hard to hold your peace right now with some of the things that are going on, but we have to. If you're a praying person, today's proverb was 30, and the verse 5 was a good one, just in case you care. But it was all about basically being protected and being cared for and safe and all that, which is a good thing to feel. I feel like I'm in a good space. I feel like I'm finding clarity, discernment, which I have been praying for. And I feel like I'm opening myself up in new ways where the things that I want are gonna come to me. And I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing what are the wonderful new things that come to me. And even in the middle of all of the world's chaos, there's a lot of good that's still happening. There's a lot of good people. And I think that we have to find it. We have to seek it out. And remember the good in ourselves. Share some of it with other people. Give somebody a compliment. A lot of people don't get a compliment very often. Some people get a lot all the time, and some people very rarely get one. And when you give a compliment to someone who hasn't had one in a long time and you see like their whole face light up, it reminds you that we all need to feel seen. We all need to feel cared for. We all need to feel loved. And if you can give somebody just a little bit of that, so much the better. It didn't cost you anything, right? So I'm telling myself that to remember too. And if you made it to this video, the end of it, thank you so much. I want to start a practice when I finish this, because I like to ground. As you can see, I have my, there they are. I know this probably looked disproportionate in the camera that way, but whatever. I have my feet bare, and I have a carpet that they're on, but it feels like grounding. And so, you know, if you put your hands down and you kind of sit there and you put your feet both on the floor and you take a deep breath and then you let it out, maybe 2 to 3 times in a row, and just kind of let that oxygen go to your brain and let it kind of settle you, then it gives you a little boost to go on to whatever the next thing is you got to do. So let's do it. So, okay. That was good. Yeah, I feel good. I hope you feel good too. And hopefully we'll talk again tomorrow. Think of something nice to do for yourself. You made it through a week. And is it a cool drink? Is it a big old cup of hot tea? Somebody told me my cup of hot tea was real big the other day. Yes, it was. I actually collect teacups. That's another story for another time. But yes, maybe it's you put your feet up on the couch and maybe you watch, well, I think Bridgerton just got a new season. Maybe that, maybe you binge watch something. But be kind to yourself. And let's get up together tomorrow. Like and subscribe, and let's talk again. Have a good evening and add some beauty to your life.